So in this one, I'm just going to go ahead and create a tree using the Add Sapling add-on that comes in Blender. Okay, so let's get started. To begin this, I'm going to press 0 and just come out of camera view. Zoom out, I'm going to press 1 and just come down to the origin of the grid here. So I can press Shift S and cursor to center, and that places the cursor right here. Okay, the next thing you need to do is make sure that the add-on is enabled. So I'm going to come up here to File, User Preferences, Add-ons, and just scroll down here. It's Add Curve, Sapling, okay, the tree generator. Just make sure there's a check mark here. Save User Settings, and I can press Shift A, and under Curve, I'm going to choose Sapling, Tree Gen, and just zoom in here. So if I drag up our options here, drag this out. So each section has a heading, so geometry, branch splitting, leaves, etc. So under geometry, I'm just going to check bevel, and I might just increase the resolution up to 1. Okay, and you can have a look at the different size there. Okay, you have loads of options for distribution, for the amount of rings, the random seed. For the scale, I might just decrease this to begin with. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is switch over to branch splitting and just increase this to maybe 3, and you can see now we get loads more branches. And I'm going to reduce the trunk height. Okay, and there's a whole load of options here that you can increase the number of branches, the rotations, etc. I'm not going to be too worried about that for the moment. I'm going to click in here and choose leaves and show leaves. I'm just going to press and hold the middle mouse button just to come around there. I'm going to switch the leaf type to rectangle with this one here, and that's just going to help us when we're unwrapping and adding material. And that's more or less all I'm going to do. Maybe I can reduce the number of leaves, just so maybe 15. And that's more or less all I want to do really with this. So what I'm going to do is select the leaves. I'm going to tab into edit mode. I can press A once or twice. I'm going to press U and choose follow active quads and click OK. Now if I just switch this to a UV image editor, I can drag this up and you should have something similar. So the next thing we need really is an image texture, and there's plenty available. If you just look for a leaf, one that will suit the tree you're trying to create, obviously, and you can download an image. Just make sure that it has an alpha channel, that it's just the leaf you see and the rest is transparent. Okay, that's important. So with this selected, I'm going to come over to the material tab, click new. I'm just going to rename this to leaf, press enter. I'm going to switch this back to a node editor, delete the diffuse, Shift A. Again, I'm just going to use the principled BSDF and just plug these in here. Just press Ctrl T to add an image node, and I'm just going to click open, and I have a leaf that I'm going to use. Click open. Okay, I'm just going to drag this over here. I'm going to just press Z and bring up material, and you can see we have a black outline on this, and I need to add a transparent node. So Shift A. First thing I'm going to do is add a mix node. Just drop that in there. Drag that over. Shift A. I'm going to add a transparency node. So transparent. Let's plug that in here. I'm going to take the factor from our image texture and plug it into the mix shader. So I'm just going to switch this around here. Just give this a quick render. Okay, and you can see we have transparency on our leaves. It's going to come back to solid. Now what I do need to do is come to my UV image editor. I'm going to select my leaf here. Leaf scaled. Zoom out. Press A to select it all. Press G. And you can see I need to rotate all of these to suit the leaf. So I'm just going to right click. I'm going to press R180, press enter. And now if I do a quick render up here, okay, the leaves at least are pointing in the right direction. Okay, so that's a basic setup for adding material to the trees. I'm just going to come back to solid. I'm going to come back to object mode also. Select the bark of the tree and just add a material to this and just give it a brown kind of color. Again, you can add an image texture to the bark to give it more realism. Okay, so I'm going to drag this back down here. Just zoom out. So with this selected, I'm going to zoom back out and maybe press G, Z, drag this up. And as I do, all these objects come with it. So for example, if I just select the leaves and press G, the leaves come on their own. If you select the tree itself and press G, everything comes along with it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is to scale this down, maybe press 7. I'm going to press Z, bring up wireframe, just press G and just drag this over here. Come back around now and drag this down to snap it to a level I want. So press G, Z and snap it to there. So if I come back to solid, you can take a look at this. Now, just like the grass, you want to keep these to a minimum, only use them where you need them. And to help with that, we can use a link duplicate. So if I select the leaves, and I'm going to zoom in here, shift select the bark or the stem, what I can do is press Alt D. I'm going to press Y and drag this down here. Okay, so that's a linked duplicate, and it's using the same information from this tree here. But what I do want to do is scale this down slightly. So I'm just going to press A to deselect, select the stem and press S and scale this down. Maybe rotate Z by 90, press enter. Okay, so you can create multiple trees using data add-on, add different kind of leaves, different tree styles, really add to your scene. So I'm just going to press 0, maybe come back around here and just take a look at these. And zoom in a bit, center up the camera, give this a quick render. Okay, and that's looking pretty good. What I'm going to do is create a couple more trees, and I'm going to disperse them around the different parts of the landscape. Okay, but otherwise that's going to do it for this one.